The United States Senate, when the intelligence agencies were spying in on Americans, pretty much loved it. And the people that were biggest cheerleaders for the NSA snooping in on 300 million Americans were people like Dianne Feinstein, who heads the Intelligence Committee in the Senate, people like Mike Rogers, who heads the Intelligence Committee in the House. Now, Dianne Feinstein, as we showed you yesterday on the program, all of a sudden thinks it is outrageous when the intelligence community, turns out, has been spying on the Senate. Oops. The CIA, it turns out, was looking into the Senate's computers as they were investigating the CIA. So she was irate over that, gave a 40-minute speech. Now Mike Rogers, her counterpart, who's a Republican, says the revelations, if they are true, are troubling, that it might be a pretty horrific situation. Of course, he then says, I mean, like, the agency is great. I mean, it's awesome. You got to understand something. And they do really, really important work. And I love the agency, but they must, quote, pay a penalty if this is true. Now, why all of a sudden is Mike Rogers also beginning to have conversations where he's tough on the agency and intelligence workers? Because it turns out they're spying on him, or at least the Senate side, and God knows if they're spying on the House. All of a sudden, he don't like that. Okay, so Mike Rogers now beginning to question, Feinstein totally opposed. Now, the other guys who love the spying normally is, of course, John McCain and Lindsey Graham. They're pretty much synonymous. They go hand in hand. John McCain, outraged. Lindsey Graham, but Lindsey Graham is going to be the stalwart. I mean, there's the guy who loved spying on Americans in every way. We had this terrorist danger, red alert. We got to protect Americans by spying in on them, right? Now that the Senate's being spied in on, I mean, he's going to say that's cool, right? I mean, you got to protect the Senate by spying on the Senate, right? Quote, heads should roll, people should go to jail if it's true. If it is, the legislative branch should declare war on the CIA. This is Richard Nixon stuff. This is dangerous to the democracy. When we do it to you, it's awesome and we're protecting Americans. When it gets done to us, and Nixon, I can't believe it. Heads should roll, everybody should go to jail. War against the CIA. Where were you when it was the citizens that were being spied on? Senator Graham? Nowhere to be found. In fact, in the exact opposite camp. Are they even aware of how gigantic their hypocrisy is? Somebody in the press, could you point it out to them? Ask them that question? They still haven't gotten that question. Hey, are you guys aware that you look like giant, huge, douchebag hypocrites?